Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm your host, Franky G. With me today, my boy Lou, Saucy Takez. How you doing today?
Oh man, another day, man. Another day without Heat basketball. This is crazy annoying. This is the longest week of all time.
It really is. Heat have until Sunday off, and Adam Silver's going to pay us right back with Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday games. So he's like, you get your rest for now. But this episode is presented by Robinhood. Thank you to our sponsors, Robinhood. We are very excited to be working with you guys. We're going to go back to our favorite new segment, the Bearish or Bullish, brought to you by Robinhood. But first, we're just going to go look around the league. We can pleasantly laugh at the Philadelphia Sixers some more. Give you a good chuckle. Heat currently stand as the 5th seed, tie in the East, 8 games back of the first place Cleveland Cavaliers, but only 5 games back of the 2nd seed and 2 games back of the 3rd seed. So pretty good a place to be early on, even despite all their struggles. And the craziest part, Lou, to me, they have a positive net rating. They're a plus 0.8. For the past 2 seasons, we have not seen that.
No, somehow they're here. Somehow they're barely positive, and I think they're 11th in the league in net rating. So, their 6 and 7 start, while it's left much to be desired, they've been in a lot of these close games too. 3 games by less than 3 points, I believe. Just an inability to finish some of these close games has really hampered their win-loss record. So we'll see if they can, with this entire week off, everybody getting all these magical treatments, we should have a fairly healthy roster by Sunday. So we'll see what that means, Frank, because I don't know what it means. I don't know what a healthy team.
For those very much interested as we are, the Heat currently stand in 3rd place in Group B on the NBA Cup standings. No games this week for them. However, a very important matchup between the 4th-seeded Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Heat are currently in 3rd place with a 1-1 record, 1 game back, plus 13 differential. So if Indiana can get a victory, at least by at least by 2 points in regulation, hopefully, they will Heat will slide up to the 2nd spot. So that's your NBA Cup standings. Milwaukee's only played 1 game, so is Indiana. So we're rooting for that so far, and we get back to it next week, I believe. But let's get to our new segment. Bearish or Bullish, brought to you by Robinhood. Lou, first question. The NBA is switching to a 4-team format for their All-Star game in an attempt to improve their product per ESPN. There's going to be 3 All-Star teams, 8 players each, and the team that wins the Rising Stars game. Are you bearish or bullish about this?
I'm 100% bullish, just because the product that's been on the floor has been so putrid over the last couple of years in terms of the NBA All-Star game, that them trying something kind of helps, I guess. Who knows how this is going to work out, but it just feels like it's going to be a little bit more competitive, hopefully. Or if it's not going to be as competitive, they're just going to fully buy into the whole pickup ball aspect of it, which I'm personally a fan of. Stop trying to sell a fake product. For the last 2-3 years, it's always been oh no, we're going to try this year, and the guys are going to be more into it. So I guess people have their own reasons to hate or to be skeptical. I guess I'm bullish on it, but it's not something I'd be investing heavily into.
I think that's a great point. I think I'm going to be bullish as well. The All-Star game, we had a couple great seasons. Unfortunately, it took place after Kobe's and Gigi's Bryant's passing, among others, of course, and that horrible accident. But the players did respond and were inspired by that for a couple years, and then that's been the changes that were made, the Milam ending. I thought those were great changes to the charity, but now the stock, the last couple ones have been so deflating, so horrible to watch that I definitely think this is a great buy low opportunity for the league to switch it up, try to get something more permanent and to do something different. I like that they're experimenting. I appreciate that. And I'm excited to watch it. Somebody in the chat said you lost me at 3 All-Star teams. It's just breaking it up into 3 teams. It's still going to be the same amount of teams. They said 5-minute quarters would be helpful. I'm very curious to see. I'm very excited. Chad is also saying the format worked for Rising Stars last year.
Yeah, it was really entertaining. The game was better than the All-Star game, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's something new, man. I don't believe in being stagnant. I think you got to switch it up when it's not working. Hints, Miami front office. Our second topic.
Bullish, Miami Heat front office.
No, definitely not. We're not doing that. Our second topic is going to be ESPN released a best big threes in the NBA, and to everyone's in Heat Nation surprise, the Heat were ranked 20th. Jimmy, Bam, and Hero were ranked as the 20th best big three. Just quickly, the first was Boston with Tatum, Brown, and White. It was OKC, Denver. Like some teams with, you can see OKC what was the first seed. They're young. You can see why they're so high. But then you got some guys like Philly, Embiid, PG, Maxey. They played one game together. They lost, and they're 2-12 on the season. Like
to Memphis,
they're what are they doing? What are they cooking, chat? Heat. You could say what you want about how the regular season, the inconsistencies year to year, but Jimmy, Bam, and Hero have been to 2 finals. They've been to the conference finals 3 times. They've been proven they're easily among the more successful one of these groups. Are you bearish or bullish on the Heat having the 20th best trio in the league?
No, I think I'm bullish 100%. I think it feels almost kind of like a jab. Like as much as we complain about this team and it's time to move on, like some of the names that they have in here with some of these other duos, it just doesn't seem feasible. Like for example, they have Sengun, Shepherd, and Amen Thompson. Like Shepherd. Okay. I love Reed Shepherd, but my goodness, like he hasn't even started 2 games in his career. Why is he up here? I love Stephon Castle. I like Devin Vassell. Wembanyama, great player. They're not more proven than us. Like some of these, like they're really stretching for some of these takes. It felt like my name's Saucy Takez, man. I can respect the saucy take, but these are dry. These are bad. Like it's just
these are unseasoned.
And you still got a season for the sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like this is an unseasoned take for real. Some of these names are just shocking. I mean, I'm not saying the Miami Heat are one of the best big threes, but 20 just feels like a jab at, what they've been able not just to accomplish, but even, we talked about their net rating and stuff. Like they're still in the top half of the league with less than, how do I say this nicely? With less than ideal players around this big three, like as it is, like it is what it is. So some of these other teams were more well constructed. Maybe they have better fantastic fours or fab fives, but the trio, I think the trio is pretty decent, especially with Tyler taking a jump that he's taken this year. Mm-hmm. Bam's kind of holding them back, I guess, from this rating, or maybe Jimmy's availability, but it's crazy. 20 still feels too low, Frankie.
I'm completely with you here, man. To add some more context, Tim Bontemps said this group has gone as far as Butler could carry it the past few seasons, and until further notice, that remains the case. I'm sorry. Booker, KD, and Beal were ranked 13th. Did they win a game in the playoffs? They got swept out of the playoffs. You got team Steph, Draymond, and AirPods are ranked up ahead of them. What have they accomplished? What has AirPods done to this team? I'm taking a shot at you, Moose, directly. No, it's ridiculous. You mentioned the Rockets, but also Wemby, Vassell, and Castle. Vassell just got healthy. Like, he hasn't played. Yeah. Castle's a rookie. Like, how are you ranking them ahead of way more accomplished teams? And I'm sorry, the Pelicans right ahead of them. The Pelicans. This is that's the most hypothetical trio of the league.
With DeJounte Murray, no BI, Zion Murray, and Trey Murphy. Brandon Ingram is not even in their in their core three. Like, some of these, first of all, some of these combinations are quite sus, dude. Like, yes. What is going on? It's a lot of, like Ryan Sproviero says, sounds like a lot of potential trios. Like, they're almost trying to buy in too early, and it doesn't seem like some of these just don't seem like good investments, to be honest.
100%. Chat says we've been waiting on the Pelicans since before COVID. Seriously, I like that they switched it up, man. But they have the worst injury bug in the league, arguably right now. They put out Jalen Tyson. He was one of my guys. Had a great game last night against the Pelicans, and I didn't even want to brag about it because it was the G League team. But let's go on to the next topic. Tim Bontemps again is reporting that not reporting, but his opinion that the Heat don't seem to be in any rush to make a trade. He says, given the extraordinarily forgiving nature of the East, don't expect Miami to make any early moves. Entering the season, the Heat wanted to see how their roster would look and then evaluate from there. That thought process hasn't changed. Lou, from what you've seen, are you bearish or bullish on the Heat not being in any rush to make a move?
Bearish. So bearish. I'm so down bad. Sell right now. It's time to sell. Every passing day, price goes down. I'm getting less of a return. Mr. Butler came off of the most spectacular game of this season. He looked like himself. Oh my goodness. Houston, are you looking? Please. I respect the report. First of all, the Heat are not looking to sell now. Half of their contracts aren't even fucking tradable.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to recoup some trade value from some of the guys that they probably shouldn't have traded for. Cough, cough, Terry Rozier. They're still trying to rebuild some of these value for these players, but as to say that they're not interested in making a move, first of all, it seems obvious. Honestly, were you shocked when you heard that? Because I wasn't.
That's the least surprising news.
I've been known this. This is Pat in his prime right now. Peak Pat Riley right now, just fucking snoozing through the first couple months of the season. Rightfully so, I guess, because he already snoozed through, was what it was. But now it's just, it might be time to consider or to start making some phone calls, just gauging some value perhaps. But it doesn't seem like they're interested in doing that. For the same reasons we talked about at the top of the show, Frankie. They're 5th seed, a couple games out from the 3 seed, 11th best net rating in the league. They haven't had their guys healthy. They're off, this is what they're thinking, the Rozier hasn't been fully incorporated. All these little things that they will lead you to believe that they still believe that they can make it somewhere decently far. Whether that's the right decision or not, it's up to everybody's opinion. In my personal view, it's probably not the best choice long term. But I mean, they got blinders on for the future. The Miami Heat focus on today and tomorrow exclusively.
I 100% agree. I see them. We're waiting to get healthy. Is the new Doc Rivers? It's the Miami Heat's version of Doc Rivers saying their starting 5 is hasn't lost a series. Ryan Spervero says we can't sell. You sell now and you're ensuring OKC gets an unprotected pick next year and Charlotte gets an unprotected in 2028. Now, if you want to flip Jimmy for equivalent talent, that works. The thing about that is this is the loaded draft.
This is the one you want to be in.
Yeah. but also say you make the playoffs and Jimmy walks. You don't have a pick next year when in a worse draft, so you're just delaying the inevitable, and you're building around nothing. Like this is, in my opinion, I'm also bearish on this because even if you're going for it, you need to make. You've seen this is not enough. This you have to be aggressive on the market. Whether you're looking to keep Jimmy as a part of this core, you need to find stuff that fits. You need to find a guard that can fit around, that can guard point of attack and space, and fit next to Tyler, like complement your players. Like you have to be aggressive here, whether you have to dangle some future picks, whether you have to move some pieces around. You have Duncan, who has an early opt out after this season. He can opt out and be a free agent. Like you have to be aggressive, and make some moves, because if you're a contender, if you think you're a contender with this team, like make some moves and shore up your roster, shore up your core to make it fit so you can go out and compete. Like that's why the Terry Rozier trade is baffling, because he doesn't complement the roster at all, and you have to give up a first round pick for it. But so I'm bearish on it. Like I even buy, whether you think they should buy or sell, I think they should be aggressive right away. This team, this core is not going to be enough to contend. So what are you doing? What are you doing to complement this and look for the future? What are you doing to help this team get to that spot? And then our final bearish or bullish, presented to you by Robinhood topic is brought via Vince Goodwill from the Good Word podcast, Yahoo Sports Ball Don't Lie channel. He reported that Joel Embiid wanted Jimmy Butler. He told the 76ers, go get my guy. And then he said, I don't think Joel Embiid has been happy, even though they wound up getting Paul George. He wanted Jimmy Butler back over there. First off, are you surprised? And are you bearish or bullish on them keep not sending him to Philly where Joel wanted him?
I'm bullish on Jimmy Butler not going to Philly. Like I think he's just going to remain here. Am I shocked by the news? Honestly, a little bit. I get the fact that he wants Jimmy back. Like that makes sense. I feel like he's been almost giving hints at that, or in no way shooting down reports on that since Jimmy's left. Like since his departure, that's been very clear. Like even the comments and the hints that he makes, he's a top 5 player in the league and he might be the best player in the league. Obviously it's a little bit of an overstatement, like realistically. But it's just, it's very important to him to get these points across, because it does feel like he wants to be with Jimmy. Like he wants Jimmy to be there. He probably felt like that was the best chance that he's ever had of winning a championship was with somebody like him. And the way this season is starting for them, 2-11, we laugh, enjoy, but they're down bad over there. So I don't know. The news isn't really shocking. Would it be shocking if the Miami Heat trade Jimmy Butler? Yes. Would it be shocking that they trade him to Philadelphia? Fuck yes. Like that is the most shocking thing that can happen, in my opinion. Aside from, him going to fucking Boston or some shit, but obviously they're not going to be interested. Like the most out of like the teams that would probably be interested, that's probably the first place I would least expect Jimmy to go to.
Yeah, like I definitely think if they would have traded him, they'd give him a couple teams and they'd work with him. I think they would straight up say hell no to Philly, and they're not doing that. No get backs on that. You had your chance. You wanted Josh Richardson and said that's your problem. Yep. If you still want Josh Richardson, however, you can circle back there.
Yeah, we will take that, Josh. We'll take him for the TikTok dancer, as some people call him. No, please.
Absolutely. So final bit of news we got going on. There was an MRI on Terry Rozier's foot. Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald says it did come back clean, and he expects to return to practice tomorrow. And he also expects to play Sunday against Dallas.
Doesn't get worse. I mean, sorry.
Do you think that's a good idea? I feel like Terry looks really bad, just health wise. Like he hasn't looked comfortable at all. So I would much rather like come back 100%. Like that's an issue that's not something you can play through. Besides what you're about to get into, I can
Yeah,
tell.
yeah.
But also
take the season. Take the season. Terry. Put yourself mentally right. Take no. If like, I don't want to seem like a dickhead, but realistically, Frankie, doesn't it look like he's had a couple bad games? Oh, it was an injury. They get confirmed. Like, dude, you look pretty fucking healthy to me. I think you can go out there and play. And he's like, I don't know. It just feels like a pre-made excuse for when he plays bad. Like, realistically, that's the point where I'm at, man. Like, do I want to see Terry healthy? Yes, I would like to see Terry Rozier healthy. I would like to see him be relevant to this team. But the most interesting news there, I think, is if he does come back Sunday, is are you going to start him? Or is this almost a way of them protecting themselves and protecting his own image from being hurt and being like, look, we're going to ease him, quote unquote, ease him back into the starting lineup. And he's just going to remain the sixth man for the rest of the year, because I would feel a lot more comfortable with that as a Heat fan and somebody who is trying to watch this team, do what they are set out to do, which is compete, as, him being, one of the first guys off the bench as opposed to playing with the starters. But I don't know. I don't know what to believe in this report, because he said he was really uncomfortable. He spent a couple last games very uncomfortable. Ironically, the games he played bad. I'm not saying those things are like he's lying or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to believe in. Nothing has inspired me to be like, yes, I'm super excited for this man to be back healthy, because we've seen him healthy, in my opinion, and it hasn't necessarily equated to winning basketball.
Yeah, he I'm looking at his game logs and I'm trying to see if you could tell like a certain point when he probably could have gotten tweaked it and gotten hurt and been playing through, but he's just been so up and down all season that it's hard to really like narrow it down to one game, one moment. Here, it just really puts into perspective how bad his season's been looking at his game logs. He has more games shooting under 35% than he has shooting 50% from the field. It's just all over the place. He hasn't looked like physically bad to me. Like he's still getting to his spots for the most part. He's just missing, showing like how bad of a finisher is. Some of that might be the injury, might be causing his balance issues, but he was having similar issues last year. You could point to it more specifically on the finishing around the rim, how it compares to last year. And the shooting he's been better this year than he was last year from three. He's at 33% right now, but I mean, it's early. And it just went down because of a bad performance last game. The last few games he's had really bad performances, so that it was shooting really well. Now he's like 1 for his last 16, so that brought it down by a lot. So I don't know if this is something that's recent or what, but I definitely think he needs to get healthy, and I'm hoping that this comes at a great opportunity to bring him off the bench, manage his minutes, and get him and get some of that too many cooks issue that's been going on with the starting lineup all season. This is an easy time to fix it.
Yeah. It's funny because we mentioned like the finishing numbers, and in particular for Terry Rozier, maybe some of the foot discomfort is not allowing him to get to the basket as much or finish there as much. He's finishing at the same rate he did last year when he was in Charlotte, like 57%. It's the same exact. It's the fourth highest mark of his career, tied for the fourth highest mark in his career, only literally 1 to 2 percentage points behind his career high. So he's around the same range, Frankie. Like, his ability to finish around the rim is legitimately right around the same range. And then it's like his ability to get to the rim is 1 percentage point lower than it's ever been. So it's, that's not the, like, maybe there's some hope there that he can get there a little bit more if he gets fully healthy. But yeah, scary for sure is all I'll say. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this piece of information anymore, because all these stats and everything tells you, like, statistically his season should be a lot better. He should be a better player because of where he's getting his shots from. his 3-point numbers are up in terms of like just his shooting percentages, and the off the catch stuff is extremely high for his career. And yet all these things are being negated by literally by himself. Like, he's still having one of the least efficient seasons of basketball I have ever seen from a point guard, at least in the Miami Heat jersey, in a long, long time. And then you couple that with the fact that he's absolutely horrendous defensively. Like, there's no, but we knew that, like when we got him, it wasn't we're getting a defensive stopper. It was, no, we're going to get somebody who's going to help offensively organize some of this team. And he can't organize himself. Like, Terry plays with some level of chaos that is truly spectacular to watch.
Well, it's like you said, like, he's definitely adjusted his shot chart. And like, I'm looking at it right now. Like, it's very similar to like some of the stuff we said about Tyler. Like, he's almost eliminated that 10 to the just inside the 3-point line. He went from taking 23% of his shots from that area to taking just about 12%. So that's a great drop.
Yeah, cut it in half. Like, his profile is moving in the same direction that Tyler's is.
He's shifted most of that to the basket, inside the restricted area or 3-point line, and that's great. But the problem is the numbers. He's not efficient there, and some of that could be the foot. If this is true, he's got a foot issue. That could hamper his finishing ability, his shooting consistency. If it's a pain threshold or it messes with his balance, that it could be something that's bothering him. And he clearly said it was bothering him. So let's get. Terry. I don't think Terry's a liar. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
No, I don't think he's lying either. I just think it's.
Yeah, I just want to see like how much this is really impacting him. If he needs to rest, get rested up, man. Like, you're not helping there's guys that can play hurt, like injured, and there's guys that are playing hurt, and he's playing hurt clearly because he's not giving us anything close to what we need efficiency wise. And I'd rather you're just hurting the team, but I'd rather you just sit out. Get your rest. Drew can take some of your minutes. Pele can take some of your minutes. Let those guys get some run and get comfortable. And Jimmy's back too. Like, he's gonna soak up some of those minutes as well. So hopefully this is gonna be a short-term issue, and we see some changes here for the rest of the season. Lou, I wanted to briefly preview the next week in basketball for the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Because G is still in Japan. I don't even know when G gets back. But we have, like we said, there's no game until Sunday for some reason.
Yep.
They're at home versus Dallas, excuse me. And then they played Milwaukee that's the NBA Cup at home. And then they get a back-to-back in Charlotte. The winnable games. Milwaukee's not been playing well. Dallas is a really good team, but they're beatable.
Luka's not playing for that game. He just got reported out too. So
even better. But Dallas has given issues to the Heat. I think they've split like every year. And particularly Bam, because of they switch so much on them. And they try to dare you to play to that style, like to attack our mismatches. We got length to throw at you. We want Bam to have to shoot over the top of guys. I think this is a game where Miami has to stick to their habits. I trust Jimmy to attack mismatches, and especially the guards and stuff. But like, Kyrie is really the only one you really want to hunt on this team. And even still, Kyrie puts up a good fight. And and since Luka's out, I'm sure he's going to rise to the occasion, or attempt to rise to the occasion and play his best. What do you think going up against Dallas this week's going to look like?
I think it's going to be pretty interesting just to see, like, in terms of like who we have out there that's going to be able to guard Kyrie. Like, this feels like another Drew Smith game in terms of him getting at least some kind of playing minutes.
Need it.
Him and Highsmith are probably going to be tasked with that assignment. And honestly, I wouldn't want anybody else to be the primary defender on him anyways. I mean, maybe Jimmy, but like only in certain situations. Like, you want to save Jimmy to do some of the things you mentioned, like, attack mismatches or almost hunt on the other side of the floor. And then offensively, Dallas's defense has really stymied Miami. Miami seems to struggle against teams that can like really, really shut off the water and stop them from getting into the paint or getting to the free throw line. So, we need Tyler to spread the floor like he's been spreading the floor and really draw the defense out there. I expect Bam to be hubbing a lot, just being opportunistic and winning like the little intangible things, the loose balls, like the offensive rebounds, that area, because that area can quickly get away from Miami on both ends. Like the rebounding battle is going to be super important. They have two of the most high energy bigs in like the entire basketball associate, like in the entire NBA, with Gafford and Derek Lively. So keeping those guys off of the glass is going to be very important. And this is going to be a matchup also like sneaky, Jimmy versus Najee Marshall again. Like,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
so there's going to be a little bit of a little bit of desire behind this game. So that's the best way I can put it. Should be a fun game. It's crazy they gave us a whole week off, and then they give us 3 games in 4 days, with one of them being a tournament game, and then 4 games in 6 days with 2 of them being tournament games. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
No,
But whatever.
100%. I think exactly what you said. I think that this is a game where they with no Luka, especially, like, this is a game where you attack Kyrie on both ends, like make him work defensively, try to tire him out, and run some of the same stuff against them, like make them isolate, make them boggle it down, make PJ Washington beat you, make Najee Marshall attack one-on-one. Like, you want those guys and get the, force the ball out of Kyrie's hands, attack him, try to get him in foul trouble, try to get him out of his rhythm. This is a game where they need big games from Jimmy, big performance. I think this is also a good opportunity for Ware to finally get some minutes in this matchup, since this is a matchup that, like I said, Bam usually struggles against Dallas. Ware doesn't have 2 centers that can throw a lot of weight around to bother him and the rebounding. Those centers are Lively. Yeah, but especially Lively. Like, you can spell Bam a little bit, try to get Ware going, try to get a couple minutes at home, especially, like, get him going, get the crowd going, and see if he can spark some energy for you. Like, this is an early season day, and despite their seed, despite their net rating, they're still under 500. Yep. We need to find ways to get to start building some good habits, and early on in the season, especially, like, you have the opportunity to build from here and see what the season takes us.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, this is probably Ware's one of his best opportunities in general to just actually get some NBA, some run against this team. It would be interesting because it's not really a super dominant physical force in Derek Lively, so they can try to mirror some of his minutes. I'm curious if he can play against Gafford and what that'll look like too, because Gafford is a little bit stronger but not as big.
Yeah, so, I would think Spo would try him strictly against Lively.
Yeah,
in that regard, because like you said, Gafford can abuse him a little bit on the boards because he's a little stronger. But I think this would be a great opportunity. They could try this switch on Ware, see Ware get the ball in the post. I really want to see Ware get his first assist, because we jokingly said, I mean, you not so much, but you were, we made the Hassan comparison during draft beat, and I'm sorry, this has been a lot. He's played like 48 minutes, but no assists. I need to see one. I need to see one attempted at least. He's been more of the play finisher. He hasn't been really asked to do that. But still, I want to see him get the ball, move it, find a cutter, find it. And this is a great opportunity, since they switch so much. Look for your slips, look for the quick seals inside, and Ware is really adept at doing that. And he's got great touch too, so I trust him if he gets a mismatch that he can finish that over smaller size.
Just has to be physical with his catch, with some of his catches in traffic. Like, it's left some to be desired. Like, the physicality he's still adjusting, and that was something that we expected to be the case probably for the whole rookie season, to be honest, in terms of just him getting stronger and stuff. But against this team who, they do send 2 at the ball, or they do play at the level, or especially if Tyler gets it going, like he's gonna need to make some of these catches in traffic, both him and Bam. Like it's not, Bam's not excused from having, we call him Bam hands for a reason. Like, against this team, so you can go up and make, other reads. Like I don't question his finishing around the basket. So it's more so, can he put himself in positions to finish around the basket successfully? And he get set up to do so too. Like it's a double-edged sword with that one.
For sure. These are, these are non-conference games, like a big opportunity at home. Like Miami, one thing we haven't talked about enough, I believe, Heat have not been good at home the last few years.
They suck at home, dude. I can't stand watching this team at home.
And this goes back to the 22 season when they were the 1 seed, because they were great in the regular season that year, I believe. But when it came to playoffs, they lost 3 of their home games against Boston, and you can't. That was one of the biggest reasons that they couldn't take care of business. They were abysmal at home against Boston, and I mean they were great on the road to compensate, but still, that's not something. That if you're a contender, that's not something you usually see. Like the 24 season last year, 22-19 at home. That's not good enough. They were 24-17 on the road.
Yeah, they're a better road team. I think this year too, if I'm not mistaken, Frankie. I believe
2-3 at home, 4-4 on the road.
Yeah, so they just need to go back to like you said, like that 2022 season. They were so good in the regular season at home. I believe they went like 30-11 or something, or
29-12, close.
29-12, like really, really good. They need to get back to some of those habits, man. Like it almost feels like people come in here and Miami is not. That's not even a fan thing. Like I legitimately don't think it's a fan concern. So it's just they need to play better at home, and they need to just finish some of these games.
Chad says, did someone say 13 at Okaro? I was at that first game when the win streak started. I was like, it's okay. They're not going to win many games. The tank is still on. Boy, was I wrong.
13 in a row.
13 in a row, and they were like, let's buy. We have
everything.
Enough. We have enough. Oh God. Well, this was fun. Just a brief little show we wanted to get in during the week, since this was just such a long time off. The Heat disappointing so far with the injuries and stuff. Jimmy missing so much time early on has really put a damper on that road trip, and a couple close losses, honestly. The Kings game, the Pistons game. I hope there's not many more of those that we're going to look back on and with too much regret. But they've had their opportunities to be a much better team, and hopefully, some of these bad habits are breaking. Some of the finishing and shooting numbers get back to par for especially Bam, who's had the worst start of his career so far. But he's picked it up recently. Last game not included offensively, but for the most part, recently he's getting back to his and they need it, Terry or not. Chat is asking for some draft beat music to close. Any questions in the chat before we get going? I saw a couple we wanted to do real quick. Ryan Spraviero asked if we would do Jimmy for Van Vliet and draft assets. I know you would.
Yeah. Depends what the assets are, but if I can get just one of those kids over there, just one of them, and another pick, I would be thrilled. It doesn't really sound like the Rockets. That's an interesting thing, because the Rockets came out that they were not interested in trading for Giannis. That was a report that came out this week, that they weren't interested in giving up their young guys, their core, as they described, to get Giannis. So I imagine it's the same thing with Jimmy, to be honest. But I don't think obviously not saying the price is anywhere near the same for both these players right now, considering their age. But yes, I would do Van Vliet and some kind of trade picks or some of those things back. I think depending on how many, even if it's, I would need at least 2 picks or 1 to 2 picks. But if we get 3 to 4 swaps too, I think those things can have value down the road. Perhaps they might.
Heat haven't haven't acquired a first round pick since like 08.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting if it did come down to it and they Jimmy asked out or whatever, I don't expect them to. I would really value that. But I don't expect them to change their mindset on that. That's just been something. That's just who they are. But I still don't think the Rockets have really never made sense to me as a Jimmy team. I know you brought it up and we've talked about it since the offseason, but I thought the teams that made the most sense were like Golden State, Memphis, who could afford to do like a short term all-in move like that. They just saw last season how you can lose a season despite your team being young and talented. So they have plenty of depth to go for it. So Memphis is one of my favorite teams, and they have plenty of guys that I would love to see with higher usage and see what they could be. So guys on rookie contracts, I think that's if it ever happened, which I don't think it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
I think Jimmy walks in sign and trade in the offseason. That's my prediction. Chat saying give us GG Jackson. That's somebody I would take.
100%.
This is my favorite question so far. What are the chances G comes back as a robot? If G does not come back in that motherfucking Gundam suit, I'm quitting Heat Beat. I'm quitting Heat Beat. Ryan Sproviero says, I predict Jimmy opts in. Lou's been talking about that a lot lately. Especially
100%.
If Jimmy doesn't get the healthy year that he's wanted, that's definitely the option. I think he's gonna go and sign and trade, or an opt in and trade is the other option for me. And just do like an extension with the other team. I think those are the most likeliest things for me.
Yeah. I do think just generally like my whole thing is I agree with you, Ryan, 100%. I think the $52.9 million contract for next year is probably not something he's going to get anywhere else, even for maybe 2 years. Like at best, I think best case scenario, he ends up getting something like what DeRozan got this year in the offseason, maybe a little bit more. That's just where I stand on things, just due to his health, particularly due to his health. But even if he opts in, I think opting in and then trading the 52.9 mil, somebody still has to match that. And I don't know if anybody's ever taken a look at the cap sheet, because why the fuck would you want to depress yourself around the holiday season? But next year, the Miami Heat are on cap for $191.9 million.
And that's if Jimmy and Duncan opt in.
Yeah, with both of those guys opting in. Right now, the second apron is 188.8. So let's hope the second apron goes up 5-6 million. They're still going to be with 11 guys on a roster, 3 million, just one measly veteran signing away from the second apron again. So guess where we're going to be? In the same spot we are this year. Yes.
Yeah. Ryan mentions Duncan isn't fully guaranteed. He's guaranteed for like 8 million. If he opts in, they can stretch it to if they need the money. But I think Duncan opts out and tries to get a longer contract. 18 million. Unless he gets banged up or something, I think he's opting out and getting a longer contract.
Yeah, 100%. He should be somebody, if that's the case, you're looking to move on from too.
Yeah, exactly. I've been saying that since the offseason.
Broken record.
Yeah, but oh well. Any other questions, Chad? Lou, do you have any questions? Anything you want to talk about?
Nah, man. That's pretty much it. I do think it's funny. Just want to, we get shit on a lot, Frankie. At least I do. For my Khalil Ware hate, or just not fondness of the pick. But man, 16, 17, 18 is looking real good, huh? Unfortunate. I hope Khalil picks it up, and we, we're not saying this, but McCann looked really good. Dalton Connect hit 11 threes yesterday, or 10 threes, something ridiculous. Tristan Da Silva is one of the best EPM rookies. So it's just interesting. It's just interesting.
In the chat, Skinny McGee says that according to Ethan Skolnick of 5 Reasons Sports, the Heat allegedly discussed Duncan for Harrison Barnes. That is something I heard from somebody else as well. So I just wanted to make sure I credited it to whoever's Skinny heard it from. Or
Yeah.
that's an interesting trade at the time.
Swap for sure.
I thought, Harrison contracts. I believe he has 1 more year, fully guaranteed, but it's the descending, so it's like around 18 million. So it's pretty much the same amount of money. Yeah, that was before the Kings got DeRozan, so he would have landed with Miami instead of the Spurs. I think that would have helped the Heat because they found Burks for the cheap. They have so many shooting guards, or shooting guard sized wings, and Barnes is a 4, or at least the size of most 4s. So I think just that versatility in the roster. I'm not a huge Harrison Barnes fan. G might fire me for that, but I think Harry B's a little overrated, and you've seen in the playoffs his shortcomings. But I just think the versatility, like, you need more positional size, and he would have provided that. I would have liked that next to Bam and Jimmy more.
Yeah, and it would have saved you something around like a little bit less than $1 million, but still that, the 0.8 difference is the difference between the Heat fielding 14 and 15 people sometimes. And Isaiah Stevens being somewhere in the G League without a guaranteed or even a 2-way contract. Scary every day he plays.
Polterghost says the Saucy's doing a parade every time Ware messes up a rotation.
I don't do a parade. I think I'm gonna have a Ware cam on when he plays next time. I don't know. We might do some kind of a what's it called? What is that thing? The playback. We might do some kind of a playback because I just audibly it doesn't shock me. I'll just leave it at that.
He's not doing a parade. What he's doing is a TikTok dance for Jared McCain.